From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Azan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, keys to victory as FSU looks to keep its playoff hopes alive and well, weekly over-under picks, and an all-time Corey rant when it comes to Florida State's brand being unbeatable on TV. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Promo code is warchantbogo, warchant, B-O-G-O. Buy one, get one free. Shake it and take it, everybody. Vitamins, nutrients, helps out with the focus, helps out with the mood. Just like an upset win over Miami on Saturday. Weird saying upset win. You're ranked top 10 like a week ago, but that's right. The way we define these things. Get your energy levels going good. I know it's been a Cat 5 maintained for like 2 weeks almost now, but maybe need some help getting across the finish line. Try Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. That promo code again, warchantbogo, warchant, B-O-G-O. Buy one, get one free. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminole sports source. You can still join us over at the Ultimate Seminole Sports Source for only $1 for a week. If you're a student, free. I saw somebody asked, does the dollar student promotion, Corey, apply to me? I am not a student at Florida State. I am a student at Southern Hampshire University. South New Hampshire University.
I would say no.
I don't think
right?
So. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't Facebook where if you just need a college email. Back then, folks, when it started, that's how it worked. You needed a college
We should
email.
be a proper country.
Yeah. Now, then the uncles and the grandmas got on, and Facebook went a different direction. So, I think you need to be a Florida State student. Sorry, but, hey, pay somebody for their Florida State. You know what? Or just pay us. Warchant's worth it.
It is.
Warchant's worth it.
Absolutely. That should be the new
slogan. Even a regular price, it's a great deal.
Warchant's worth it. That should be the slogan. We'll see what they think over at advertising. All right, so we're going to get to the rest of the questions in this Renegade Express mailbag. Also throw out some over-unders, Core, but we did get to speak to Mike Norvell for the final time this week on Wednesday. We'll get an injury report later on today, maybe during our probably after we go off air with our live show Thursday night tonight, 6 p.m. But we spoke to Mike, spoke to Earl. What do you like, or I shouldn't even say what do you like or dislike, but like what is your sort of reaction when you hear Mike talk about like embracing the emotion of this game? He wants it to be every bit of emotion they have put into this game, but obviously they need to also show emotional maturity. And then Earl's saying things like, it's going to be a bloodbath. I've told everybody, like, you got to be ready for the physical level of it. So it's like it's not only the mental aspect, but the physical aspect is really going to be laid bare, it sounds like, for both teams on Saturday. And the Florida State side of it is clearly eager to accomplish both things, check both boxes.
Yeah, man. I just think they're speaking the truth, right? Like I think that that it is going to be very, very emotional. It's going to be at a fever pitch. It's going to be Alabama times 2 or 3. Honestly, I think. Like I just think, but because again, that was an afternoon game. It was a season opener. There's a lot of questions about what's going on, and they played hard and they played physical, but I feel like it's just different when that other sideline is Miami. And maybe not even different for the players because, man, let's be honest, Micah Pettis has no ill will towards Miami. Tommy Castellanos has never – well, he probably has played Miami.
Yeah.
Squirrel White hasn't. Deuce Robinson hasn't. I know Dominic was his dad, is his dad. But these guys don't have any ill will towards Miami necessarily. They didn't cost them a national championship last year or anything like that. It is what the fans are going to be like. And the players, I think, will feed off that. We always want to talk about, and Norvell was asked about it again on Wednesday, about, what does it mean for recruiting and what does it mean, the emotions of this game. And he talks about how, a lot of these guys played against each other. They're friends with each other. They played against each other in high school. They're friends. They're from the same city. Yeah, man. It's such a transient sport now that there's not a lot of school pride at either institution, and that means all of them, every school in the country. But maybe specifically Florida State and Miami, just because they have used the transfer portal so much. So it's does that make sense? Like, Elijah Herring, how much does he hate Miami?
Right.
How much does that matter? Like, this is a big game because it's a big game because there's a number 3 next to their name, and it's another game. I feel like it's on the fans. The fans are the ones that grew up with the wide rights and having to deal with Miami fans on Twitter for the last 20 years, and all of that, and the just that rivalry. It means so much to the Florida State fan base that it will be the players can't help but get caught up in it. And that's what it's just. It's not like T-Buck. It's not like Dion going up against Michael Urban for 4 straight years, or Danny Cannell playing him 3 straight years, or whatever it is. Like, this is a different deal. Jordan Travis playing him for 3 straight years. None of these guys have a history with Miami. Earl Little, he played against Miami. Hey, that was his coming out party, by the way. Was last year against Miami, but his dad played at Miami. Like, I don't know that he hates Miami. He just wants to go win that game because it's an important game. I keep coming back to these players they can't comprehend what it's going to be like on Saturday night when Osceola and Renegade are running out on the field, and what that crowd is going to feel like, because this is a big time Florida State-Miami game. It's a big game every year, man. We all get it, all the rivalries. I tried to ask that to Norvell on Wednesday. I didn't ask it very well, and there's not really a good answer he could give me anyway. But this game will have a feeling unlike any other one he's ever coached in. He doesn't even know it. Like, he's never coached against a rival when the rival was good. He just hasn't. Like, he went up there and beat Clemson on when both teams are good. He went up there and beat Clemson when Clemson was struggling, and it was a sleepy noon game.
Right. This
is prime time Saturday night in Doak against a top 5 team that you can actually beat. Man, it's going to be electric, buddy. It's going to be electric, and I'm genuinely, I keep saying it, but I am fascinated to how these players respond and what it's going to feel like for them in the moment. Daryl Jackson's never felt this, man. No, none of these guys have.
Tommy played against Miami up in Chestnut Hill in 2023, ran for 130 yards on 19 carries with a touchdown, threw for another 15 of 25 for 151, threw 2 picks. Boston College lost 45-20.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean,
sounds like more of a defensive problem than a Tommy problem.
Yeah, not a Tommy problem. Yeah, I guess nothing really shouldn't be too surprising what we heard from Mike on Wednesday, because if one thing he has been very consistent about since he's been here is that, like, what he's always says, like, there's 3 games that we talk about at the beginning of the season. There's 3 games and they matter, more than most or whatever. So it shouldn't catch us by surprise to hear him speak so forcefully about what this game is going to mean and what they need to do to pull it off. But still, though, it's always good to know that your head coach is totally dialed into this one. Let's go to Dalvinism, who wants to ask a question about Mike Norvell. Wake up. The win over Alabama put a stop to any Mike Norvell hot seat conversations or dark thoughts about the direction of the program. Do you think those questions will return if they were to lose to Miami this weekend?
Yeah, sure. And don't even think about losing to Miami and then turning that into another loss the next week, because then you're in real trouble. That's how tenuous this stuff is, man. That's how quick this stuff changes. Again, Kalen DeBoer would be on the hot seat. Now he's candidate for Coach of the Year.
Now he owns Kirby. He owns Kirby Smart.
He does own. He's 2-0 against Kirby and like 500 against everybody else. It's crazy. Kirby, get your head out of your rear end, man. This ain't Saban's Alabama, and you still can't beat them. Yeah. Even when you play them at home. That will definitely come. You just don't want that. You don't want that. I do feel pretty good about this team, and I really do feel good about the direction of the program for the reasons I talked about, I think, a couple of shows ago, about the young guys on this roster, the underclassmen, the guys that aren't starters but that are contributing. They are built more for long-term success than they were 2 and 3 years ago, in my opinion, because of the Desirs, the Kevin Wynns, the Boggs, the LaWayne McCoys, the Cromaws, Castellanos, if he can come back, would be great. But there's so many young guys in that I believe in this coaching staff's ability to evaluate much better than the previous one. I mean, I just think that's. We talked to Earl Little, man. I just want to reiterate for everyone: Earl Little couldn't get on the field last year for the worst Florida State team in our lifetimes. Earl Little couldn't get on the field. He had 13. What did he have? 15 tackles last year. He had 13 last week. He is one of the best players in the country at his position. He could not see the field last year. So at the very least, Tony White and his staff come in and go, and they can identify dudes and be like, actually, Earl Little can really play. It reminds me of Jimbo Fisher in 2007 when he got here. The only guy he talked about was Preston Parker.
Right.
And when you read those preseason comments, you're like, Preston Parker, what? That guy didn't do much last year. He's nothing special. He was just a low-key, normal 4-star recruit that hasn't done anything yet. Jimbo Fisher, who you can say what you want about, but his acumen when it comes to identifying real football talent, identified Preston Parker right away and was like, yeah, that guy could have played at LSU for me last year. He's a player. And then what do you know? Preston Parker was, in fact, a player. And it should fill you with some confidence and instill you with some confidence that these guys on both sides of the ball can identify real talent and get them the ball. Or in Gus's case, get them the ball. But all of that to say, yeah, man, if you limp to 7-5 or 8-4, which is very much on the table if you're 3-2 after 5 games, because it's not like the schedule is light. This is probably your hardest game, but those road games aren't easy, man. Yeah. So you could very much get to 8-4 and 7-5, and then I think you're having a conversation. It's just a conversation you don't want to have, and you don't even want to put that in the universe. Just go win this game and feel good about your head coach again, because it's going to be really expensive to make a change. And I kind of do like the nucleus they brought in with this coaching staff and the guys on the roster. If they can go get better players next year, they'd always have to go get a lot of offensive linemen. But I like the direction of the program, so you really hope that the hot seat talk, if they lose to Miami, doesn't become like you got to get rid of them the next week. They need a solid to good season. Yeah. They could have a great season. That's still very much on the table. Like I said, this is a playoff game, man. This is a playoff game. You have a chance to thrust yourself right back into the playoff conversation against a good, but we don't know if it's a great Miami team, and you're playing at home, and you're the more desperate, hungry team. And you might have equitable talent. So there's no excuse. Go win this game. It's right there. You are playing a playoff game on Saturday night, which is cool. If you lose it, yeah, who knows where the season goes. So let's hope they don't lose it.
It'd be kind of wild to bang the drum for change if you lose to the number 3 team in the country that you're an underdog to. But I get the rivalry aspect of it. The other interesting component to this, I do think, Corey, is that, for whatever you want to, the thorns on the Mike Norvell rose, or whatever you want to call about the warts, fairly above average for sure game management coach. I feel like is you watch a lot of college football. I watch a decent amount of it too. I feel like when it comes to in-game decisions, like using the clock in the right way, I think more than not, Mike does like the right thing. So like if they are to lose to Miami and it's within the spread, I just don't know, I don't imagine there's going to be like that one pivotal moment where you can point the finger and it's going to be like, that's on Mike. Because Mike's not calling the plays offensively. If they lose their heads and get a, unsportsmanlike penalty away from the ball that extends a Miami drive, then maybe you can be like, well, he's losing control of the team and doesn't have them disciplined. But otherwise, it would be crazy to really try to build momentum and point fingers at him if they were to lose this game against Miami. In my opinion.
Yeah, but it's just that's the nature of the sport, man. Like you lose games, you lose jobs. That's how it works. You just don't want it to whether you lose, but again, if Alabama had lost that game at Athens 28-24, that's a good showing.
Right.
Especially how they played in the first game when they got kind of controlled at Florida State, an unranked team. They go and play the number 5 team on the road. They hadn't lost at home in 6 years. And you're within a score of them, nobody would have cared. He's on the hot seat. He's 2-2. That's just how it works. You are what you are. And if Norvell loses this game, he's 3-2. He's also 1-9 in his last 10 ACC games. That is a horrible look. But you lose this game, the season's not over, right? And not even close. Is Florida State in a place, I guess I would say.
Is it a must-win, Corey? My friends were asking me this in the group chat. They're like, how come you didn't? And Corey, you did 2 hours of mailbags from questions from the fans, and not one person asked, is this a must-win game?
It's not, because what is that? The only must-win was World War II, gang. But no, it's not a must-win because is it a must-win to get in the playoffs? I mean, yeah, probably.
As an at-large?
But it's not a must, and maybe not. If Alabama goes 11-1 and you go 10-2, and your losses to Miami at home and double overtime to Virginia, you have at least a case. We've seen enough of this committee to not think you're going to get taken care of, but who knows? Yeah. But as far as saying it's a good season, no, it's not a must-win. Like, again, remember where we were last year. Remember where we were in August 15th and what you were hoping for. So it's not a must-win for his career. It's not a must-win for the the trajectory of this season. It might be a must-win to make the playoffs, but that we can't live in a world where if you don't make the playoffs, it's a bad season. It's playoffs or bust. You can live in that world maybe starting next year, sure, but when you're coming off what you came off, playoffs or bust isn't the way to look at things, I don't think. Because when you come off 2-10, that's not the rational expectations to have for a season. Now, I know things were adjusted after the Alabama win, and I'm not throwing away this season at all because of one double overtime loss. Again, if they beat Miami Saturday night, which is to me a flipping coin flip, if they win that game, they're right back where you want them to be. But that doesn't mean they're going to win the next 7 games and easily and be on their way to the playoff. But when you asked me before the season started what would define a successful season, it was getting to December not wondering if Mike Norvell should be the head coach. Like him not being on the hot seat, to me, would be a good season. He could lose Saturday night and still have a very good season where he is not on the hot seat. So, again, it's not so much him, man. It is him. But it's like the guys he hired in this roster he's put together in kind of short order is pretty impressive considering where it was. And I just feel like if you feed this thing for another year or two, they seem to be recruiting at a pretty good level. They've certainly become more of a commodity among – it's got to be a pretty hot commodity among transfers and recruits. And I like the evaluators on this staff where if you can let this staff be together for 1 or 2 more years – and put together a legitimate roster where they have more than 3 weeks to put together a roster, to bring in their own guys for their offense or their defense. Man, I think this program could be really good the next few years. And do you want to blow it all up because you went 8-4? Those are the questions that you have to, and pay a lot of money to a guy not to coach. I guess I'd say this. I think Florida State can win big with Mike Norvell as the head coach. I do think that. I don't think Saturday night changes that at all.
All right, that's fair.
I also think they can lose big because I lived through it.
Yeah, I think we got to step aside here for a real quick second, but last sort of thought on that. I do think that we've recalibrated our expectations for coaching hires in terms of like assistants. Like going back to Jimbo post-championship, some of the hires that he made clearly not good enough to keep this thing rolling.
Ridiculous hires, honestly.
Taggart's hires did not work out, obviously. He tried to, he was going down his list of wish list candidates, and he ended up on, plan C and then try to fix it the next year, and it still didn't work out. And then, probably a lot of the guys that, Mike brought in with him were not ready to take over the situation they had here in Tallahassee. But they made it work via the transfer portal, you people and your money, and the battle's end. So it's like Florida State, like, yeah, man, like you hope this is what happens. Like when you hit problems, you're able to identify it and then replace it with good, practical, reasonable, like high-end assistant coaches. So that's another part of this equation that probably is worth factoring in when you think about, to your point, Corey, like blowing it up, starting it all over. Like, are you going to find somebody that's going to be able to nail it and crush it every single time somebody leaves? I don't know. I do know this. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is a place to be all week long, especially on Friday as we have our meet and greet at 5 p.m. Come out, say hi. Maybe have a shot of vitamin energy if you want on the house. Come out Thursday, later tonight, for bingo night. 4 rounds, $250 cash money up for grabs. Get involved. And then Saturday, lots of good games on. Texas taking on Florida. There's another one or two that's slipping my mind right now, Corey, but it's always a good Saturday, right? It's the best Saturday ever. And then obviously Florida State taking on Miami. If you can't make it into Doak Campbell, you can make it inside the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. 99% of people who wash with Tushy feel cleaner and fresher after going to the bathroom, Corey. And I am not afraid to admit I am one of the 99%.
We're finally doing this, Reed?
We're finally
because
doing
I just used it.
It's a bidet, everybody, which is a weird thing to talk about. But listen, there's multiple ways you can go about doing this, right? You can buy this really exotic, fancy one that maybe has like a built-in water heater and all sorts of electronics that are going to probably go wrong and fail you because it's in a dank bathroom. Or you get the Tushy, which is affordable. It's economical. It says that it takes 8 minutes to install. I am not a great DIY guy, but I got it done in about 8 minutes, Corey. And it's at the house in Jacksonville, and I miss it thoroughly. I almost miss it as much as I miss my fiance. I'm a believer. I've never had a bidet. I don't want to say I'm going to divide my life into two eras, before the Tushy and after the Tushy bidet, but we're getting close to that point in time.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's great. And I just used it. I'm sure Stephanie is loving this conversation, but I just used it. She's the one that installed it because God bless her.
Nice.
She's good at that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah.
She's. But yeah, man, I can't. And we're getting ready to move, which is but that's the beauty, Aslan.
Bring it with
we're
you.
getting ready to move. We just installed it 3 weeks ago. It's pretty darn easy to uninstall and then take it to the new place.
That's right.
And yeah, so I've never been a bidet fan either. And we'll be honest with you. The first time or two you use it, it's a different sensation.
It is.
It's not a sensation your body is accustomed to. But after you get used to the sensation after one or two tries, but you can't go back.
Can't go back. You can't
go back.
Can't
you just can't go back. So yeah, I would recommend everyone getting it because it is kind of a life changer.
Over 2 million buns love Tushy. Get 10% off Tushy. It's TUSHY. Using the promo code WARCHANT. That's hellotushy.com/warchant to save 10% off your order. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free. DJ R Star. This is a really good question. This is the runner-up, Corey, to generating discussion.
Okay.
He says, side note, Corey, don't apologize for your rants. They are the reason we listen.
Oh, that's very. I don't know about that, but that's very sweet. Thank you.
Keeping it brief, this rivalry is special for many, many reasons, but unfortunately, it's most remembered, perhaps nationally, for Miami beating all-time FSU teams on missed field goals. The stakes of those games were epic. One missed kick could cost you a national championship. My question for you, in the modern era, where regular season losses now matter less, will we ever be able to appropriate revenge on the Canes? Will we ever be able to get appropriate revenge on the Canes? How would that even be possible in the playoff era?
I mean, you'd have to beat them in a playoff game.
Or ACC championship game, right?
Or you could beat them in the playoffs, too.
Yeah.
But that's the only way. Like, back then, yes, like the 1987 Florida State-Miami game was the de facto national championship game. Same thing for 1991. 1990, really, I think. No. Miami didn't win it in 90, but they did beat Florida State. They cost Florida State a national title in 90. So the way 1992 probably cost Florida State a national title. It would have been Florida State versus Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. I can promise you Florida State would have put up a better game. But, yeah, you not in the regular season, no. This is the closest we've had. Literally, I feel like it's the closest we've had since the year 2000, where these two, maybe 03, but Florida State wasn't going to win the national championship in 03. I think this is the closest we've had to not a national championship game because, man, just getting to the playoffs, you still got to win 3 more times against really good teams. But I don't know that the stakes have been higher where both teams, in my opinion, have a legitimate shot to be there at the end playing for a national championship. In 13, we brought it up. Miami had a low number next to their name. They were not going to win the national championship that year. They weren't close enough. This is the first time I might write a column on this. This is the first time I feel like since 2000 where both teams legitimately have a shot to go play for a national championship, depending on who wins this game. Now, Miami has the luxury of they can lose the game and still get there. I don't know that Florida State does, but the stakes feel higher because both teams are good, I think.
Yeah, both have something to lose. Yeah, this isn't just one team trying to play spoiler like it's been for so long.
Yeah, right, which is kind of it was the case last year. Obviously, it was the case 2 years ago when Miami was here. That's not the case here, man. Both these teams, these are real stakes for both teams where they're both trying to accomplish something. And so with that in mind, yeah, I mean, I think it's like the biggest game that they played in probably 25 years. But I also understand it when you say, okay, but how much does it matter if Miami loses? They don't lose any ability to still go win a national championship because they still could finish 11-1. If they're 11-1, they're in the playoff. I mean, come on, this isn't do or die for them. Back then in the 90s, which is kind of effed up when you think about it, they were do or die. Like that kick decided careers. Who was a legend and who wasn't? Maybe decided the Heisman Trophy in '91 because Casey didn't get the kick to win that game. Like it's not like that anymore. These they're clearly not as magnified as much as they were back then because it was such a stupid setup they had. But it is what it is, and I think that's why I'm so excited. This is a huge game, man.
What if they move the game back to November?
I still don't think if Miami's 10-0, it doesn't matter.
No.
They lose, who cares? Ohio State lost their last game of the regular season last year. Didn't even make the championship game of their conference. How'd that matter? The only way it could matter like that again, where it will feel like, oh my God, all the stakes are on the line, is if it's a play-in game in Charlotte where both teams have like 2 losses, and the only way either one of them are going to get in is if they win that game, or if they meet in a playoff game this year or in the future. Which again could happen. You know, they could meet in a playoff game. They could have a rematch in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah. Wadata 80. I think we beat Miami.
All right.
I am also often wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good clarification.
Is there anything we as a society can do to correct the hotel situation in Tallahassee? It's awful.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud.
Look, man, and I'm lucky enough that I live in Tallahassee, so I don't have to pay these exorbitant fees, but I have plenty of friends that do. And yeah, man, it sucks. I don't know what to do. I don't know if we've talked about this more than once on this show. I remember you looking it up too. I feel like you were looking up like hotels in Tuscaloosa and Auburn to see what their prices are, and I just don't feel like they're like this. I don't know, man. I don't know.
By the way, I did look it up earlier. Earl had 15 tackles last year, and he had 13.
What's he at now? 32? You know what I mean? And he had 13 in one game. He had 15 all of last season.
Yeah,
playing the wrong position. Again, that's what I know. This wasn't the question.
28.
That's where coaching comes into play. Yes, you need good players. I don't think Earl Little was made by Tony White.
Right.
But Tony White identified him. It is like, look at this guy.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine Tony White, his first couple of days of spring practice, being like, wait, Earl, how much did you play last year? What? Like, it's such an indictment, not just of Adam Fuller, of Mike Norvell. Like, how do you have a player like that on your team, especially that team last year, and not say, you know what this team needs? More of that. That's part of coaching. And Earl Little was let down last year. Now, I don't know if he came from Alabama saying he wanted to be a slot corner. He wanted to be a traditional nickelback because maybe that's how he felt his best chance was in the league. But it was clear early to even somebody like me who doesn't do this for a living, doesn't scout football players. I could tell Earl Little wasn't a good cover cornerback. He couldn't cover Florida State's receivers last year in practice. So then why, when you see that and you know his physicality, would you not suggest it in August? Hey, man, we think we should switch you to safety. I think you'd be pretty good there. And you're going to play a lot more. Like, how many snaps did Earl play against Georgia Tech? 2? He should have been playing all of them. So, anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent there. But that's crazy, right? The kid had 15 tackles. As a third-year player, it's not like he was a true freshman. It was his third year of college football. Playing for a horrible team, and he managed to get on the field and make 15 tackles. And 6 of them, I think, were in the Miami game, where we knew that looked different. But anyway,
hotels, I don't know. I think we're hosed on this because it's also the reason why we couldn't sustain the stadium at 80,000 people. It's just we just don't have large population centers that are 2 or less hours around this campus. So, like, whenever there is a big game, everybody needs a hotel. There's a big game in Athens, you're still driving back home to Atlanta. You're popping back over to Birmingham after the game's over.
Or you're just driving back home.
Yeah. In Tallahassee, like, man, if you're coming up for a game, you're probably coming up from Miami. You're probably coming up from Orlando. You're probably coming down from Atlanta. That's a long drive to make on the same night. So you're going to have to get a hotel. And as many hotels as they keep putting up, I guess it's clearly not enough because they're building like nice new hotels out on the east side of the town, but the rates still seem to be extremely exorbitant. So I don't know what the solution is, but we all
to me it's price gouging. It qualifies
like
to me as price gouging, but I know there are laws against it.
That's for like natural disasters, though.
I was going to say only in emergencies. It would be nice but I don't even know what the step would be because you are you going to tell hotels that are trying to build in your city, nice hotels, hey, those 7 weekends a year where you're going to make a lot of money, we're going to limit how much money you can make. Yeah. Well, then they might not build the hotels. And I think their counter would be, well, we're always sold out. So if people are willing to pay these, it's not like there's rooms going empty this weekend. So their counter would be, well, we're trying to make money too, and if people are willing to pay these prices, is that really price gouging, or is that just capitalism? But it sucks. Yeah. It sucks. It's a capital city that you could go to. If this game was in Miami, you could get a hotel on Hotwire for $100. But it's in Tallahassee. You can't get anything but like an attic for $100. By the way, my attic is available this weekend if anybody's coming up. You're gonna have to put on some costumes. That's how we roll here. But still, you're allowed to sleep in our attic.
NYC, Noel, wake up, gents. Miami, we got to say I was ultra confident in this game before Virginia. Was ready to declare a big FSU win a la 2013 Clemson style.
Oh, okay.
But now I'm happy we just squeak one out. I don't need your predictions just yet, but I would like to see an increase in pressures, which possibly would lead to more sacks. What would you need to see for this game? And a trivia question for Corey. When was the last time Florida State gave Miami their only loss of the season?
89. That's got to be the only time they've done it.
He gave the answer as the square root of 3,956,121, which thanks to my computer.
Beat by 2 touchdowns.
1989. Yeah, correct.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Yeah, I was there. It was a really fun game. Dexter Carter, Leroy Butler, Kirk Carruthers had a huge game. It was a fun time. But it didn't matter. Miami won the national title anyway. Awesome. Well, it did matter. It's just Florida State lost the 2 games to start the year. So it's kind of fair, right? Miami had the better record. They were also playing with their backup quarterback on the road because Craig Erickson was hurt. So Gino Torretta, who was a freshman at the time, I think, maybe a redshirt freshman, had to make that start. And that was kind of a tough environment for him, and he melted down. But what are you going to do? You look. I think pressure is key. I wasn't impressed with what we saw from that aspect on Friday night. I also don't know that they're equipped to do it with just the defense. In fact, I know they're not. You can't just rush 3 or 4 guys traditionally and get to Carson Beck. This line is just too good. You're going to have to confuse them and bring it from different angles. And the beauty is he doesn't move well. He might get outside if you just completely lose contain. He's not a 79-year-old man. Like, he can still go run for a first down if there's nobody on that side of the field. But I don't know that he's outrunning anybody on your defense. So if you're in the area, he's probably going to throw it away or get sacked. So just do that, man. It is nice. Like Simpson could run at Alabama. He might have been their leading rusher. Chandler Morris ran for 3 touchdowns. You're not facing that kind of quarterback. So that bodes well. But if you don't get pressure on him, and look, man, it opens it up. If you bring 5 or 6 and you don't get home, I'm not even worried about them throwing it 70 yards downfield. I'm worried about that crossing route where all he has to do is make one guy miss, and now it's a 40-yard game. An easy crossing route. It's an issue, man. It's an issue, and I'm not convinced that they're good enough on the defensive line to put a lot of consistent pressure on Carson Beck. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not convinced of that right now. Doesn't mean you can't win.
Right.
Plenty of teams win football games when they don't sack the other quarterback 5 times. Did Virginia have a sack the other night? They won.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It becomes harder.
Florida State had 29 pressures on Alabama. So,
how many do they have on Virginia? Because I'm not sure I'm buying the pressure statistic on PFF.
Let's go to the Virginia game.
What constitutes a pressure? Just being near them?
Yeah, probably.
Or making him move off
21.
Move.
21 versus Virginia.
And how many dropbacks did he have? 38? You're telling me he got pressured more than half the time. Does that seem right to you?
I mean, I don't feel like he was sitting in the pocket having like a picnic while he was throwing the ball. I think he was rolling out. I think there was some quick stuff happening.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The rollouts and the quick stuff happening. If you're within a yard and a half, but he's already released the ball, that's not a pressure. Like, I'm not saying that like they were stoned at the line of scrimmage, but the way Virginia called plays with a lot of quick stuff and him moving his feet, I never felt like he was running for his life. He was pressured and just threw something up. Like even his interception, the first one, there weren't that many. It wasn't like there wasn't somebody breathing down his neck, I don't think, when he threw that up to Edwin Joseph.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I just didn't feel to me like he was pressured a lot in that game. Not necessarily because the defensive line was horrendous, just because they called quick passes a lot of times and short passes.
Noel Dad for Life had a two-parter. One was about the defense, which we talked about ad nauseum, but his second one was, what worries you more, Florida State's offense with a dynamic quarterback against that defensive line, or their pretty standard air raid against our defense? I mean, like, by saying our defense, that makes it sound like we've got a bunch of, like, we've been a sieve all season long. Like, it was not the greatest of performances, but it wasn't horrendous. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of what worries me more, no, I think Tom will be fine. But I guess in terms of the way that's framed, I have to pick one of these options. I guess I'm more afraid about what Miami's offense might be able to do. I think Tom will be fine, man. I don't think Ruben Bain's going to have, like a field day on him. I think he's going to be able to get away and elude and make some plays. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, agreed. But I mean, I don't know if it's worded weirdly because I'm not worried. The way he says the dynamic quarterback, I wonder if he's talking about. Is a Miami fan more concerned about Florida State's offense against their defense, or is a Florida State fan more concerned about?
Yeah, he says, and for Miami, what worries you more? I'd be scared of Tommy more than
yes.
I think Carson Beck will be okay, man. Like, if you're a Miami fan, I think you feel good about their offense going against Florida State's defense. Not because they shredded Virginia. It's like also like they shut down Alabama, but he's been in so many big games. They have a running game. They have a good offensive line. I think your fear for sure is like everybody does their job, but Tommy just is Tommy and runs for 7 yards on 3rd and 3, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so our friend Bill Conley, he's not our friend. We've never talked to him, but he works at ESPN. He does the the BFC. What does he do? He's the stat guy at ESPN that comes up with all some formulas.
S&P?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has Carson Beck. He ranked the quarterbacks so far this season through, basically the first month and how well they played, the transfer quarterbacks. He's got Tommy at 16, which seemed a little low to me, but that's fine. I get it. He's only really played 2 teams. Chandler Morris at 13. He's got Carson Beck at 18.
Ooh.
And he says it's hard to figure out Beck in Miami's offense at the moment. The Hurricanes are up to 3rd in the AP poll, and he is number 4 Heisman betting favorite with a 73% completion rate, ninth amongst qualified QBs. But he is 68th nationally in yards per completion and 95th in interception rate. And he provides no run threat whatsoever. The defense has been more responsible than the offense for Miami's 4-0 start. And I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
And also I think the running game has been as much
their offensive coordinator, Corey, their offensive coordinator, because there's been a lot of questions from Miami media about Carson Beck did not look good against Florida. And Shannon Dawson, their offensive coordinator, pretty much came out and said Florida's offense is horrendous. We knew the only way they would beat us is if we did something stupid on our end of the field offensively. So the flow of the game dictated for them to take the air out of the ball. And then they wish they might have been a little more aggressive in hindsight, but they just wanted to do whatever they needed to do to win that game by more than 1 point, score more than 1 point than Florida. So, but that's still just one game, man. And everything else.
I also don't buy that. Like, what offensive coordinator is like, hey, we're not going to try to score right here. You know what I mean? Like, every play you call is supposed to be a successful play. And do you trust your quarterback or not? Like, he's played more college football. He's played in more big games than any other quarterback on 2 feet right now in college football. Why would you be worried about him making some back-breaking decision that cost you the game? You had a 13-0 lead. Florida couldn't score. I feel like that gives you more freedom to try something. So that's a weird answer.
Well, that's what got Mario to lose against Georgia Tech. He ran a play, tried to score on it when he could have just taken a knee.
That's a good point. It's a good point. Florida might as well have taken a knee up until that point. I think the running game is what gives you more pause because Beck's going to make plays, and he's got good wide receivers. He's also going to force some throws. He's going to throw some incompletions. He's probably going to be tackled a few times. That running game, if he's in 2nd and 2 and he's able to use play action and hit you over the middle and hit deep shots, you're in real trouble. If you can just corral the running game, which you might be able to, man. Like Alabama, the problem is Alabama's running game has been pedestrian at best. That was not some great showing to hold that offense to a few rushing yards because they don't run against anybody. But I also know that Virginia ran for over 200 yards, but how much of that was the threat of the quarterback? And Miami doesn't have that threat. When that running back is in the game, they know Carson Beck's not keeping it. He's not pulling the ball. So maybe that's going to help Florida State out a lot. You've got to be good at the point of attack. You can't get blown off the edge, and you got to set the edge, and you've got to make tackles behind the line of scrimmage or near the line of scrimmage. And they didn't do enough of that on Friday night against Virginia. Miami's going to score points. They're going to move the ball. I don't think that's an incredible offense. I don't think that's an incredible quarterback. I think he is a competent quarterback, and if you give him time, he will pick you apart. But I don't know that he's a special quarterback that is going to make a ton of special plays. So I would be more worried because on the line of scrimmage, I don't think Miami's line of scrimmage is better than yours. They're better. They have a better offensive line and they have a better defensive line, maybe significantly better. But you have the great equalizer at quarterback, and you also have a bit of an equalizer at offensive coordinator, where even if you're a little bit outmanned on the line of scrimmage, they're going to find ways to move the ball because they're tricky dudes, man. Castellanos and Malzahn together, that's a tricky little combination. So I think I'd be more worried as a Miami fan, and you also haven't seen anything like this. Like that USF kid can run. He's not Tommy Castellanos, though. He's bigger. He takes a little longer for him to get started. I think it's going to be difficult for Miami. Not impossible, obviously, but difficult.
Underdog Fantasy Sports, Corey, it is time. It is time. We've got player propositions available over at Underdog. We're going to go to the Miami-Florida State game. Baseball, you did really well, but not good enough. But I think if they might have done a flex, they would have been okay. But let's just go straight up standard pick 'em. Tommy Castellanos, 183.5 passing yards, 51.5 rushing yards. Either one of those sound more appealing to you for the higher?
Rushing yards.
Rushing yards, 51.5. We're going to go higher.
Yep.
We need something from the Miami side. Do you want one of their backs? You want Mark Fletcher, or do you want some Carson Beck stuff? Carson Beck, 237.5 passing yards, 1.5 passing touchdowns, half interception thrown.
Let's do higher on the interception thrown.
Okay, I like that.
I think he'll throw. He could throw one at least.
Yeah. Deuce 50.5 receiving yards. Gavin Sawchuk 47.5 rushing yards.
I would go under on Sawchuk. Sorry, lower. Even though we're doing an ad read for Underdog, I want to go lower there, but I would go higher on Deuce.
Okay. All right.
I like both those numbers.
All right, good, cool. Let's do that. We'll put all four of those together.
Does Jalen Lucas have any player props?
Jalen Lucas. No, Jake Weinberg does, and so does Randy Pittman.
I want a Jalen Lucas prop, man.
All right.
Free Jalen Lucas is all I'm saying. And maybe he'll get some more carries. Like Sawchuk, he's good for what he is. He's a downhill runner that gives you a lot of 2nd and 4s or 2nd and 6s, which is what he needs. And he'll bust one. He's 7 touchdowns already. But I just think I'd like Jalen Lucas to get 5 more touches a game.
All right. Corey giving us a 9-1 payout. Higher, 51.5 rushing yards for Tommy. Carson Beck throwing at least 1 interception. Sawchuk lower on 47.5 rushing yards. Deuce higher on 50.5 receiving yards. 8.9 payout. So $10 wins us 89.
Yeah,
and we will submit it and confirm it. You do the same. Underdog Fantasy Sports. Download the app now and sign up with that promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Again, promo code WARCHANT at Underdog Fantasy Sports app. Millions of fans have already won billions playing picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Mad dash to the finish line. It's going to be all good because I'm powered by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Mark, Naples, 3 things critical this week for us to feel very good about the ball game and this football team. 1, bring back the intensity and physicality in the trenches we saw against Alabama. Wrap up on tackles. 2, front 6. Is that what we call a 3-3-5 front? They must get consistent pressure on Beck to rattle him into bad throws with a loud environment. 3, Tommy needs to play a bit cleaner in crucial short yardage passing situations. Do you see anything else we need to pull off the upset? I think they need a timely field goal or two. A pressure field goal, probably.
How about win the turnover battle?
Okay.
That'd be a big one. If you win the turnover battle, you're almost certainly going to win the game. I mean, that's a big if, and it comes down to players making plays or making bad plays. I get all that, and it's too general and broad. But yeah, man, force a few turnovers and don't commit many, and you might win by multiple scores. Again, it would be an upset, but this isn't. It would not be a monumental upset. This is not the 1987 Miami team rolling in here, the 2001 Miami team rolling in here, and you are not the 2024 Florida State team. Like I feel like it's pretty evenly matched, all things considered. They've got talent on the line of scrimmage. You've got talent at other places, and you're pretty good on the line of scrimmage, especially the offensive line. You seem pretty good there. I just think it's going to be a really fun game, and it usually comes down to turnovers, honestly. I mean, if it goes 0-0, then all bets are off. But how many times has that happened in a football game where each team doesn't turn the ball over? So, yeah, win the turnover battle, win the game. But all those other ones are correct, too, that Mark had.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, Tommy's got to be a little bit better in certain situations. And, yeah, that's what I would say on that.
All right. I hate to put you on the spot like this, partner, but we're going to be doing a live show tonight, so I don't think we'll be doing over-unders during the live part of it because I assume we'll have lots of questions. Get involved, everybody. So let's maybe do some of our over-unders right now. And by some of them, let's do all of them. So we need 6 from you, big dog. Miami, Florida State. Be exotic, be fun, but also make it something that I can tabulate within a reasonable time frame after the game so I can issue out the $25 gift card to Garnet and Gold to the winning participant.
Hey, remind me after this to talk about TV ratings.
Ooh, yeah, okay, I got that. All right. Jalen Lucas. We have to start off with Jalen Lucas after your fervent soapbox pitch during the underdog read. Jalen Lucas, what do you want? Longest carry?
How about touches? Touches.
All right, Lucas touches.
I'm going to say 3.5.
I like that number. I was going to say the same number. All right.
And it should be twice that. But again, we've watched what's happened these first 4 games.
Yeah. Give me something else. What do you think? Daryl Jackson sacks or sacks total? I shouldn't put Daryl Jackson sacks. That's not fair.
How about James Williams?
Okay.
Could you do pressures?
Yeah.
James Williams pressures.
PFF pressures, yes. He had 6 against Alabama. He had 6.
And I think he had 3 against Virginia.
Correct.
Which, again, I think a lot of people watching that game were like, what were the 3?
On 20 pass rush snaps, 3 pressures for James Williams.
Yeah. And, again, some of those pass rush snaps, getting the ball off so quick, nobody's going to pressure him. I don't think Carson Beck's going to throw a ton. He'll throw quick stuff too. Oh. But they will try to look downfield and make plays. So I will say pressures 4.5.
Okay.
If he had 6 against Alabama and 3 against Virginia, those are the 2 teams they played so far. Split the difference.
All right.
4.5.
Okay.
And I think either he doesn't play much at all because they're tired of watching him, or he comes the coaches. Or he comes and plays his best game. I think there's a chance he plays by far his best game of the season on Saturday, or he gets taken off the field in the first quarter.
What about longest non-Tommy Castellanos rush for Florida State?
All right, so we don't have to say the player.
Correct, just the number. Like, what's going to be the longest rush Florida State's going to have that's not Tommy?
29.5.
Ooh, all right. Good number.
It's weird that you're including not Tommy, though, because it's not like he's ripped off a bunch of 60-yarders. Like, why doesn't he count?
I got to make it a little interesting. I don't know. You want to include Tommy? Longest rush period?
Yeah, because I don't think it'll be him either way.
Okay.
I think it'll be our man Danzy.
All right. Lieutenant Danzy. Never took hold, unfortunately.
It will. Trust me. When he's running for the Heisman next year, it'll take off.
Earl Little, tackles?
9.5.
Okay. Tight ends. Somebody tight ends. Like Randy Pittman. Touchdowns. He had 3 last time. Yeah, I know. Randy Pittman or tight ends, total catches for the Florida State tight end segment? Or no? I just need 2 more.
No, you need 2 more. How about we got to do something special teams?
Right.
How about Chimento punts?
Okay.
Did he only punt 1 time in that game?
I think
the first drive of the game?
Pretty sure.
After the OPI? That was the only time he punted. So he's punted 1 time since the Alabama game.
Yeah.
And it was a first quarter punt.
Fresh leg.
I'm gonna put it at 2.5.
Okay.
It probably should be 3.5. I mean, most teams punt 3 or 4 times in a game at least.
Right.
Doesn't Miami go pretty fast, or am I not? Am I wrong about that?
I mean, they're air raid, but they play a little bit controlled.
Especially on the road, they probably won't be snapping it as quick. But I just wonder if it's a high possession game, that changes the number. But yeah, let's do 2.5.
Yeah, they punted first drive of the game, then it was fumble, pick, touchdown, halftime, missed field goal, touchdown, downs, touchdown, overtime.
Think about that, man. I'm glad you just illustrated that. So the first 3 drives are a nightmare. You have the OPI that erases a third down conversion. Then you have the fumble on the next play. And then you drive all the way down and have the crazy interception. After that, Aslan just said touchdown, missed field goal, touchdown, get down to the 12 and call that crazy 4th down play, then touchdown. That's crazy.
Correct.
Like touchdown on the road, field goal, it should have been a field goal, another touchdown, should have been more points, another touchdown. I mean, and then Deuce drops the touchdown in double overtime. That was but you know what I'm saying? Like and they had the walk-in touchdown if Tommy makes a good throw in the first overtime.
We need to figure out a way to describe the Deuce play. I don't like calling it a drop.
Yeah, you're right. It's not a drop.
The Deuce incompletion.
The Deuce incompletion. Perfect. The Deuce overturn. And then you think about Tommy's throw to Sawchuk on the screen. That's a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah.
Think about how close they were to scoring like 7 straight touchdowns.
I know it doesn't happen to that degree, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of teams have that missed play or two. Again, not to the point where it's like we should have scored 49 points on 7 straight drives, but like that's what separates an elite team from a midfield team, right? Like you don't make that throw in that situation. You don't make the full completion catch, and you're in this conference that doesn't want to give you a 50-50 or actually like a 95-5 call your way, you know?
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. All right, and the last one, so longest field goal? Jake Weinberg.
How about longest field goal by either team?
Okay, longest. All right, cool. I like that. Made or attempted?
No, made.
Okay. 47
49.5.
49
and a half.
All right, 49 and a half. There we go, everybody. Those are over-unders. Jalen Lucas touches 3.5. James Williams pressures 4.5. Longest rush for Florida State, 29.5 yards. Earl Little tackles 9.5. Florida State punts 2.5. And the longest field goal made by either team, 49.5. Go to warchant.com, Tribal Council. It'll be pinned to the top. It's a Google form link. Just tap on it, click on it, fill out your questions. Corey, Friday night, Florida State, Virginia, was a highly watched, lots of big visibility for the 4-letter network. The brand sustains.
Correct. So when you look at the numbers for this week, obviously the I shouldn't say obviously, but the Georgia-Alabama game was the highest-rated game of the weekend. Oregon-Penn State was the second highest-rated. I think Notre Dame's in there. Florida State, I think, was 5th. But either way, they had 4.4 million viewers. I think it peaked at like 6 million. And it was the highest-watched Friday night game in history. And it was not like Florida State versus Colorado when they're both in the top 10. It was Florida State versus a team that was unranked. And it was a Friday night, which, again, people aren't really used to watching football on Friday night. I know you could look at it and say, well, yeah, it was a standalone game. If that had been played on Saturday, it wouldn't have got that kind of viewership, which is like, yeah, no duh. But also, if it was Virginia versus NC State, it wouldn't have got that kind of viewership. Or Virginia versus Illinois, it would have been 80% less people watching it. And why I bring it up is because the very next day, USC was playing Illinois in a Big Ten showdown.
High noon game on
Big Ten
broadcast
showdown.
television. Yeah,
And it's two top 25 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Two top 25 teams. And it drew less than Florida State, Virginia. And so, as I pointed out on Twitter, I pointed out on the message boards, got a little conversation going, as I'm apt to do on the message boards from time to time. What does that tell you, man, about the marquee and the brand value of Florida State? Everybody knows that number is peaking at 6 million and over 4 million because of Florida State. It was not a bunch of Virginia fans watching it. It was either Florida State fans or people watching to hope Florida State loses. That kind of value can't be oversold. Like, you're telling me that the Big Ten doesn't see that number? Like, we have USC is one of their marquee teams, right? Like, USC is in their biggest that's their biggest market by far. I know it was a 9 a.m. game out there. It's still USC. It's still a top 25 showdown. They had 4.1 million people watch their game. Florida State versus Virginia was 4.4. So if you're a Big Ten power broker, if you're the commissioner or one of the presidents, or more importantly, if you're the Fox sports executive, you can't look at those numbers and be like, man, we're cool. Number one, we're cool with our marquee game of the year, probably, maybe until Ohio State, Michigan, is Penn State, Oregon, a cross-country matchup between two top 5 teams, right?
Yeah.
And it drew 2 million less than the Alabama-Georgia game on at the same time. 2 million. Mm-hmm. Even though it was a bigger game with more stakes and, it's two power. I mean, Oregon's a football power. Penn State's a football power. And it didn't draw as much as Georgia, Alabama. That should petrify Big Ten people. And if you look at the Florida State just hovering down there, like, wow, and Florida State got more than USC, what would Florida State, Penn State have looked like on Saturday night? I bet it would have outdrawn Georgia, Alabama. And I just think if you're a Big Ten person that makes these decisions, this is why Florida State is still matters. Because when Florida State is good or they have a number by their name, they put enormous eyeballs on television screens. And if this game Saturday night is a game in the second half, a close game, it is going to be a monster number that I think could rival Georgia, Alabama. And again, it could certainly rival Oregon, Penn State, even though it's not a top 5 matchup. So, and one of the teams went 2-10 last year. I just think it speaks volumes of what kind of brand Florida State still is. And it also is good for Florida State in the short term because it's more eyeballs is more money. You get more of the TV revenue, the more ratings you get, and that's a huge ratings win for them, for Florida State. This next week will clearly be a huge ratings win for them, and if they keep winning, they're going to keep having more eyeballs on them. So I thought that was very telling that Florida State, Virginia outdrew a Big Ten top 25 matchup, and I can promise you the people in the Big Ten care about it. And if they have a chance to go add Florida State, this is like example A. Like, look, man, this is September against a nondescript opponent, no offense, Virginia, that nobody really cares about. And they outdrew one of our big games of the month with USC. It wasn't Illinois Northwestern, and Northwestern happened to be ranked. It was Illinois USC. It's what you brought USC in the conference for, is for the TV
market.
Ratings in the market. And yet Tallahassee/Charlottesville outdrew LA/Chicago. Come on, man. Like, this is why Florida State matters, and this is why the Big Ten, I think, should be desperately trying to get Florida State into the conference, and it might be why they end up in the SEC, because the SEC likes having the marquee games of the week and doesn't want 2 years from now seeing Florida State, Penn State with an 11 million and Georgia, Alabama with a 9.9. But that's very much on the table because Florida State is it's box office, man. People watch.
I know this will upset
I explained
people.
that all right?
You did.
Okay, good.
I know this is going to upset people, and I hate to upset people after Corey just gave us such a great salvo.
Well, by all means, though.
Yeah, by all means, thank you.
That's what we do. You're my foil.
I do think this also illustrates the power of ESPN and ABC. I do think like you want to be on those channels, because when you're on Fox, maybe you're in the Big Ten. Like the amount of people that probably had to search to find Oregon Penn State that weren't Oregon Penn State fans, like, oh, Oregon Penn State's playing. It's a big game.
What was it on, by the way?
It was on NBC,
right?
Yeah. So like. You being on ESPN and ABC and you being in that ecosystem in the SEC, like it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy that feeds into it. I would be interested, though. It would be crazy if Miami and Florida State both got picked up by the Big Ten and they put that on at 7:30 p.m. on Fox. How would that fare? Would it get 8 figures? Like, would it get 10 million people the way that Georgia, Alabama did? I'm sure Florida State, Miami, with the way these two teams are right now on ABC, 7:30 p.m., is going to draw 8 figures. It's going to get 10 million
and not
people.
A lot of I don't think there's a ton of competition at night either.
Yeah.
Like, I think all the other big games are during the day, I think.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, if it was on NBC, you maybe miss out on like 1 million people, which I don't know. That might not be the end of the world. I don't know.
But don't you think maybe that's more reason for the Big Ten to be like, yeah, we don't have the traditional ESPN market. We've got to figure out a way to get into more households. And the more games we have like this, the more people are going to be desperate to find. Where's Florida State, Miami? Where's Florida State, Miami? Yeah. Where's Florida State, Clemson?
That game? I hope Florida State's leadership leverages this. Yes, like leverage the hell out of this between both sides to put this university in the best possible spot, which I still happen to think is probably same with ESPN and being in the SEC. But yes, by 100%. All means.
This is not an argument for Florida State to go to the Big Ten. I want them to go to the SEC. I want them to end up in that conference. But you can understand why the Big Ten would be very, very open to have and wanting to have Florida State in their conference, because that is other than I think Ohio State had another big rating, so I think Ohio State was third. I think Florida State,
they were behind LSU, Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, and that was 2 top 15 teams too. So I would think like
on ABC, on ABC though,
Florida State would be the second most marketable team in the Big Ten, right? They immediately become the second biggest or franchise program in that conference behind Ohio State.
Maybe Michigan, but if Michigan and Florida State are both good, but if both are middling, I think Florida State edges in front of Michigan.
I just think if Florida State's playing Miami the same time that Michigan's playing Penn State, and they're all of them are in the top 10, I think more people are watching Florida State Miami.
I agree.
Or if Florida State's playing whoever, man, Florida State's playing Purdue, and Michigan's playing Northwestern, and they're both in the top, and Michigan and Florida State are both in the top 10, it's probably even. Yeah. But you need more of those if you're the Big Ten. You can't keep losing to Ole Miss versus Arkansas. You need some heavyweights, man. Yeah. You need, especially if Wisconsin's going to be this for a while. So I would just think they would make an all-out dash. So that's why what they did against Alabama, no matter how this season plays out, what they did against Alabama was enormous. I think that was they set a record for that game too. Like a 3:30 season opener, most watched game in ABC history. This was the most watched Friday night game in history. This Saturday night will be maybe the most watched Florida State-Miami game of the last 20 years. And if it's a really good game in the fourth quarter, it might peak at like record highs. You need all that, not only because it's more money in the short term in this conference. It reminds people, because they all got amnesia last year. It's like, Florida State doesn't matter because they went 2-10. No. When Florida State is relevant, it's as big a name as there is in the sport, save for Notre Dame and Ohio State maybe. But it is up there right below those two. And it can compete with Alabama and Georgia and USC and Oregon and Penn State and all these other ones for market share. It is probably a bigger draw than those schools, honestly, just going by, the last 40 years. Anyway, I think I've sold it. So, guys, get ready to go to West Lafayette in 2028.
That's a wrap on Wake Up Warchant for today. We'll be back with a live show Thursday tonight, 6 p.m. That'll be your Friday program, everybody. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. Warchant report powered by Cummins should also be floating out there on the internet probably by the time most of you are up and listening to this. And then warchant.com around the clock. Probably have a video posted on our YouTube channel after the live show with the injury report as that comes down from both Florida State and Miami, since it's an ACC clash. Happened last week. Remember that? All right. Let's all go out and have a great day and then come back and do the live show and hang out and stay within the warchant.com ecosystem, everybody. He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Warchant BOGO. Buy one, get one free.